While our attention is being pulled in a million different directions, something really significant, something quiet but incredibly important, is happening in the relationship between the US and China. It's a story about a massive gamble, a bet that could change the game for security and alliances in the Pacific for years. And it all kicks off with a billion-dollar pause. At the very heart of all this is a huge arms sale to Taiwan. We're talking $1.3 billion. Now, this isn't just some run-of-the-mill deal. For Taiwan, this is a critical piece of its defense strategy. And right now, according to multiple reports, the Trump administration has slammed the brakes on the whole thing. And let's be super clear here, this isn't just some typical bureaucratic headache, paperwork getting lost. No. The sources we're looking at say this is a deliberate, tactical move. A conscious decision made at the very top to press the pause button. And just look at what's actually in this package. This is serious hardware. We've got advanced Patriot missiles, top-of-the-line NASAMS air defense systems, and absolutely vital upgrades for Taiwan's F-16 fighter jets. This is exactly the kind of stuff Taiwan says it desperately needs to stand its ground against rising pressure from Beijing. So why? Why hit pause on something so critical? Well, the reported reason is pure realpolitik. It's about power dynamics. The administration is apparently letting the deal languish to avoid rocking the boat with Beijing, all to make sure an upcoming summit between President Trump and President Xi goes off without a hitch. It's a massive diplomatic gamble. Stay till the end because some shocking things I am going to reveal in this video. Let's get back to the video. To really get why this one move is causing such a major stir, we need to take a step back and look at the incredibly fragile balancing act that has defined the relationship between Washington, Beijing, and Taipei for decades. For a long time now, the US-China relationship has been shifting, moving away from cooperation and into something the White House calls strategic competition. We've seen it flare up in the trade war, in the South China Sea, over human rights. But out of all these flashpoints, Taiwan is the most sensitive. It's the one issue that could turn this competition into a real open conflict. For decades, America has walked this tightrope using a policy called strategic ambiguity. It sounds complicated, but the idea is simple. Be deliberately vague about whether the US would actually send in the military to defend Taiwan. It's a tricky policy with two goals: scare Beijing away from ever trying to invade, and at the same time, discourage Taipei from declaring full independence, which could spark a war. But here's the kicker. Ambiguity does not mean a lack of commitment, and this is so important. The Taiwan Relations Act of 1979 is the bedrock of US policy here. It is an American law, and it legally requires the United States to provide Taiwan with defensive weapons. So you can see why, when an arms sale like this gets delayed for political reasons, people in Washington start getting very, very nervous that the foundation itself is cracking. So that brings us back to the central question. Why would the administration risk upsetting Congress, not to mention its allies, with a move like this? Well, like we said, it all comes down to a cold, hard political trade-off, a high-stakes gamble. First, you have to understand that these weapons weren't just picked out of a hat. They slot perfectly into Taiwan's modern defense strategy, which is called asymmetric warfare. Think of it as a David and Goliath strategy. The goal is to get capabilities that make it incredibly painful and expensive for a much larger military, like China's, to even think about an invasion. These missiles and defense systems are key to that plan. And this table here, it lays out the diplomatic math perfectly. On one side, you've got what the US is asking from China, things like help with North Korea and some wins in the trade war. And on the other side, well, that's what the US is reportedly giving up in return, hitting the brakes on this arms sale to, create a good vibe for the summit. It's a classic case of giving something up here to hopefully get something bigger over there. Now, if the idea was to make everything calm and quiet ahead of the summit, it kind of did the opposite. The news of this delay sent alarm bells ringing loud and clear, and not just from one political party. This was a bipartisan freakout in Washington. This quote really just says it all. This is the heart of the argument from Congress. Lawmakers on both sides are saying, look, the Taiwan Relations Act isn't a friendly suggestion, it's the law. Their view is that these sales have to be judged on Taiwan's defense needs, period. You can't use them as a bargaining chip with Beijing. That, they say, sets a really dangerous precedent. And the anxiety doesn't stop at the US border, not by a long shot. As you can see, the concern is spreading. Our allies all over the Indo-Pacific, we're talking Japan, South Korea, Australia, they're all watching this like hawks. They rely on American security guarantees. So when they see a move like this, it makes them ask a terrifying question. If the pressure gets high enough, would the US compromise on our security too? And all of this brings us to the core debate, the fundamental question that everyone is wrestling with right now. Is this a brilliant piece of diplomatic strategy, a clever chess move, or is it a dangerous act of appeasement? Okay, let's break down both sides. On one hand, you have the tactical de-escalation argument. People who see it this way say, hey, threats like North Korea and the trade war are huge. They have to come first. They'll stress that it's just a delay, not a cancellation. It's a goodwill gesture to get a bigger win. But on the other side, critics are screaming that this is dangerous appeasement. They say it just rewards Beijing for being aggressive and shows them that pressure works. It weakens Taiwan, it makes US law look flimsy, and maybe worst of all, it gives up a huge concession with zero guarantee China will give anything back.
So who's right? Is it a brilliant tactical play, or is it proof that the critics were right all along? The honest answer? We just don't know yet. The entire outcome of this gamble depends on what happens next.
So here's what you need to watch for. It really boils down to two things. First, the summit itself. Does Beijing actually come to the table with real solid concessions on North Korean trade? And second, what happens the moment the summit ends? Does the White House immediately give the green light to this $1.3 billion sale? The answers to those two questions will tell us everything we need to know.
So let's just quickly sum this all up. What we're witnessing is a clash, a direct conflict between a 40-year-old law, the Taiwan Relations Act, and the short-term goals of diplomacy. It's set off major alarms in Congress and with our allies. And it's forcing a really tough conversation about where the line is between smart strategy and dangerous appeasement when dealing with China.
At the end of the day, it leaves us with this one incredibly important question. Was the administration right to play this card, to delay the sale for a smoother summit? Or did it unintentionally show a weakness that will only encourage Beijing to push even harder next time? But what do you think? I really want to know. Was this a smart delay or a dangerous sign of weakness? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And hey, if you found this breakdown helpful, make sure you subscribe for the latest updates and go ahead and watch the video that's coming up on your screen right now. Thanks for watching.